Hi guys, I'm Shmi. Hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me today to take a first look at the brand new Mercedes-Maybach GLS. Now this is the ultimate in luxury, potentially the most luxurious SUV in the world. The Maybach brand has a reputation for introducing the pinnacle of comfort along with technology and all sorts of features, gadgets and gizmos, which today I'm going to show you all about in this, the new GLS 600 4MATIC. We will jump on board, play through the infotainment, check out the tablet and the controls that you have with those incredibly comfortable seats that it actually has in the rear as well. But just look at this thing. It is a very elegant and large size SUV based on the latest generation Mercedes-Benz GLS. But let's get under the skin and go and have a look in detail then at the new Mercedes-Maybach GLS 600. Let's get started then with a walk around, take in all of the details before we hop on board to check out some of the comfort features. Now you'll instantly recognize that this is the Maybach version. Features, for example, like the new look front grille, the chrome accents all around, these new wheels that the car has, and also this particular car in the Hyacinth Red with the light colored interior looks very, very nice. Now as a bit of a backstory behind Maybach, Mercedes-Maybach launched the S-Class about 4 years ago, 2015, and since then they have sold 45,000 units, representing 1 in every 7 S-Classes that they actually assemble. As such, with the general move in the market towards SUVs, it made sense to produce an SUV in production form. Now they teased the Mercedes-Maybach Vision SUV concept, but this is the production car based on the new generation SUV, the GLS, literally the GLS, the S-Class of their SUV range, the very premium offering and largest size form factor SUV that they have, and this is the car in question. So we will go through this in a lot of detail, but first, just to pick out some more of the design cues that really stand out as you're exploring and looking around the exterior. So for example, you have this very, very prominent front grille. It has a lot of presence thanks to those vertical pinstripes. And you'll also notice this kind of cutaway shape that you have. This is something that appears all around the car. You also have the Maybach logo just here, and right above, the 3-pointed star mounted on the bonnet. The first time for a Mercedes-Benz SUV model from the entire range, in fact. Now continuing down, all of these chrome touches just emphasize some of the sporty prominence of the car and in fact how much power that it actually offers. We'll take a look at the engine shortly. And then down at the bottom, more chrome touches, the contrast painted sections as well. Again, just giving you more of that sense of an SUV, flanked also around the sides by the latest top technology multi-beam LED headlights. Now those accents or touches I was talking about from the grille, check here as well. Those cutaways that you have on the wheels that almost mimic that pinstripe style as they go around with many, many spokes. And just nice materials, for example, even that is metal as opposed to plastic for the center caps. Around the side, you have door steps over 2 meters long that actually lower and come down. And you'll notice also just a lot of chrome, for example, here on the B pillars, separating the driver cabin from the luxury of the rear, which we will see in a moment as well. And details, again, the Maybach logo here on the D pillar, the largest Maybach logo that they've actually used. But more chrome again. Some more signature Maybach features, having this rib through the center of the exhaust, tailpipe, chrome for the lower bumper sections, and these chrome touches and Maybach specific lettering font that just go all the way around the exterior of the car. Now come and have a look at the interior, the contrasting bright interior against the dark red exterior, a stunning specification and a wonderful option. But before you actually even open the door, as soon as you pull the handle, the Airmatic air suspension will lower the car by 25 millimeters to make getting in and out just a touch easier. When you do then pull the handle to open the door, the side steps will lower. The side steps over 2 meters long, 2 meters and 4 centimeters, but again with that same cutout shape as we saw earlier on the wheels and the front grille. And then you're greeted by this interior, the crystal white of the leather, finished for the top rolls also with the silver pearl grey. And then look at the trims, look at the inlays. We are again seeing that pinstripe design. Now the wood veneers here are actually aged by 10 years and have an incredibly complex name that I can't quite recall, but you can see some of the technology, the dual 12.3-inch digital displays for the driver's dashboard. Everything everything is quite cleanly presented. Of course, you've got the finest possible materials in terms of the leathers with the perforation, the pipings, the stitchings, but also the different dials and toggles and everything that you press and actually interact with. You notice Maybach details all around. For example, here on the steering wheel, we've got an upgraded Burmester sound system in the car. We've got the Maybach side illuminated steps. But let's have a look in the rear, because I think this is what it's really all about. So back here, the legroom is extended by 120 millimeters versus the regular car. We've got the 4-seat lounge seat configuration as opposed to having the rear bench, but just have a look at these seats. Finished with pillows, with folding footrests. You've got the 7-inch tablet in the middle to control your MBUX. You've got headrest screens mounted on the back of the front seats. The ambient lighting in here is very special as well, that we will see in a second. In the centre, you have a champagne fridge for 3 bottles, along with some champagne flutes as well. There's a large glass panoramic roof up top, but again, every single surface is finished with fine materials, with leather everywhere you look. Normally the lower sections wouldn't be, but again here, you can see the contrast of the stitch that runs around all the way throughout. You have your controls in the back to adjust the front seats, to automatically move them forwards, to make everything just a touch easier. But let me climb into the front then, to start running through some of this. And firstly, I will just quickly show you the key that we have here, the Maybach key, presented in white as opposed to the normal black of a Mercedes key. But I will pop that away in my pocket, open up the door, and climb on in here to show you through some of this in just a moment. So we have the power button just down here, 1 press for power, the 2nd press for ignition, and everything starts to wake up. And this is where you have the latest generation of MBUX, where you can speak naturally and interact directly with the car. You can say things to it and it will do exactly what you want. We have this special display, a new skin interface specifically for this car, but I'm a big fan of these systems. You have the touch controls here. If you wish to change and go through various different settings and screens, I think it all works very, very naturally and gives you a lot of information, a lot of different settings and things you can display. And then for this screen, which is also a touch screen, if you would like to control it by direct interaction, and you can see, for example, if we go all the way across to settings, and yes, there are a lot of settings and screens and displays and things you can do. We've got the parking sensors, of course, the car can park automatically if you would like it to. We've got a head-up display, we've got towing modes, we've got just about everything that you could possibly want a car like this to actually have. Cameras to help you automatically park, traffic sign assist, yes, it will read the traffic signs and tell you what the speed limit is, or automatically control your cruise control to adjust it to the right speed. Effectively, think of it like a co-pilot, but the car will basically do, well, everything that you might potentially ever want it to do. In vehicle, you've got dynamic select, which actually has a new chauffeur mode, which uses things like curve. So for example, with curve enabled, the entire car will actually tilt 3 degrees into the corner to make it more comfortable for the occupants in the back, to make them enjoy their ride inside this vehicle a little bit more. So you can start to see where they've gone with this. Loads and loads of tech, winter tires limit. You can kind of see what's going on here. Lots and lots and lots of settings, lots of different things. We've got the lights we can configure, the ambient lighting inside that you can now see wrapping around. There are 64 different colours that you can have for that. And in fact, the lighting in the rear is probably the most special part of it. I'll show you that in just a moment. System settings as well, if you want to change the image and appearance and the language and usual things along those lines. So you've got a lot in here that you can configure. In the glove box over here, you have the fragrance dispenser, and they've even made a new fragrance just for the Maybach GLS. A specific fragrance that it dispenses through the energizing comfort control, where basically it controls and brings together the climate control, the lighting, the fragrance that's being dispensed, and all of that at the same kind of time. And here you've got a small storage compartment, your heated or cooled, depending how you want them, cup holders, and just close that back up, your touchpad to go through the various different modes. And actually look down here, look even at the pedals on the floor with the Maybach logo. So what I'm going to do is just cheekily start it up, because why not, hey? Bring the V8 into life. You can see the EQ designation because this car does have that 4-litre twin turbocharged V8 plus the EQ boost. Now that works with the 48-volt system also for the suspension. So the car has cameras to read the road up in front of you. So while you're driving, the suspension knows what's coming in advance and can smooth out the ride. Yes, it is very, very, very clever. There's no question about that. And also, of course, working with the lean functionality. Hear a little bit of it, but of course it's designed to be very quiet inside. Had I closed the doors, we wouldn't be able to hear quite so much of that. Actually just going to turn it off, I think. Put it back into the ignition mode for the time being. So what else do we have? Suspension control, manual, the ride height. The car will lower itself by 15 millimeters when you're driving at speed to reduce any lift or anything like that. Traction and your descent control, and just having Maybach logos and touches and details just about everywhere you look. Here inside the armrest, USB-C port, and a decent amount of space. Now this car is of course not necessarily so much about the front. We will get to the back in just a second, but before we do, let me pop open the bonnet to come around and just show you the engine quickly and go over some of the numbers. Button here for your towing hook and also for the powerful tailgate. But coming around here to just open this up, if I can find the catch, it should be just under here. We have the 4-litre twin-turbo V8. In this case, as standard, it makes 558 horsepower and 730 newton meters. But the interesting thing is with the EQ boost system, you can give it for a short period of time an additional 22 horsepower and 250 newton meters. So up to 580 horsepower and a total of 980 newton meters of torque. I think that goes along with what you expect from the car. It would have effortless power to drive and glide away. It also has the 9-speed speed shift gearbox. So the interesting thing as well about the Chauffeur mode is it adjusts the gearbox. For example, it will pull away in second gear always. It will shift less frequently than it otherwise would need to. There's a whole bunch of configuration settings that are all about making the ride as comfortable as possible when you step into the rear. Speaking of which, let's come around and jump in. Inside here then, let's take a seat in the back of the Maybach GLS, just like the front, finished everywhere you look with the same materials, the same fit and finish, the same qualities. So sitting in here, the ignition is still on so that we can play with some of the gadgets and technology. And of course here we've got this 7-inch tablet, which literally mimics the view from the front in terms of your controls. You can go through the different settings, you can adjust just about everything from it. But one thing that's really quite fun is this, the remote control. If you actually select that, you then control that screen. So by moving your hand through here, you are then moving that display. So you can set up everything in the car that you might possibly want without having to go up front or ask the driver for anything. For example, going into info, you can go to some of the different screens and displays, the vehicle screens, go to the engine display. You kind of see the point there. Actually, that's a really quite cool display that I've just brought up as well. So I love this, so much technology available. Of course, you can eject it, it will lift itself out and you can take it in your hand, wirelessly connected with all of that functionality through that 7-inch tablet that you have back here. Now to drop that back into place, it plugs in to keep it charged. Here, you've got your wireless charging pad for your phone, and you've also got, just at the front, if I press that button, your controls as well. Some hotkeys to do with the phone interface, which can slide back in. Now, an interesting thing I've noticed back here is that you actually have an insane number of USB-C ports. 2 there, 2 on that side, and also you have some more stored just inside here. Where you have the tables, there are, at the back, 4 more. There are 8 USB-C ports in the back of this car, plus a 230 volt socket down there, charger as well. You've also got these tables which open out if you want to work. You know, this is a mobile office in the back of this car that unfolds, they rotate around, and you've literally got your lounge seat with an office desk and a screen in front should you wish, and that just clicks back into place, folds away just like that. Very, very easy, as well as there being a decent amount of storage space inside there too. Just close that back down. Again, it's all just really nicely presented. You've got these pinstripes running back here again through the fridge, which if we open up, here you've got space for your 2 champagne flutes. If you open up the fridge itself at the back, you can see that you've got room for 2 bottles at the bottom, 1 just up at the top as well, so you can keep things cool in there. Of course, that does take a little bit of the luggage space at the rear, but again, Maybach logos, all beautifully, beautifully presented, everything that you actually look at. Then the seats, lovely, lovely, lovely cushioned pillows up top. Comes with the cushions in the seats as well. It's all just really very nice. And look at this lighting that I was talking about. Look at how it runs and completely encompasses you all the way around. And obviously you could change the specific colours of that, but super, super, super smart. And then from my seat, if I just close this door, this is where, soft close of course, I've then got the controls to actually move the front seat. So if I select that, I can then move, for example, the front seat forwards, and change it and give myself a little bit more room should I wish. But I can tell you there's there's acres of legroom back here, and that's with the cushion behind me as well. Lots and lots of space. So more just storage compartments here. We've again got cup holders, heated and cooled cup holders in the rear. We've got our climate control settings back here, many different zones. These screens, I think if you can just turn it on, maybe it needs to be, oh no, there we go. Oh, I think I pressed it twice, turned it straight back off. Not exactly what I intended to do, but again, you've got access to everything that you would have up front. And you can even do the remote control from these screens to control that central display. This is quite fun. This car has a lot of gadgetry. If you're like me and you like pressing buttons and playing with gizmos and toys, this is an absolute winner. Look as well at the Burmester speakers that you have all around. Super, super nice details. Everywhere, absolutely everywhere. I'm just going to step out to head round towards the rear of the car very quickly to show you the luggage space that we have at the back, and a few more features that we have here as well. Of course, it is a power fold tailgate, so it will open straight up. You've got that nice parcel shelf again, all of those touches. So on the right here, you have a button, and what that does is it actually lowers the suspension of the car directly at the rear so that it's slightly easier to load things in back here. It is that easy, and then you'd press it again and it would lift the car back up. Yes, super easy. Another bit of functionality we have is this for the towing hook. If you just pull that quickly, you will notice there is an electronic towing hook that is about to appear right underneath. It's that simple. Then you would just wait until it stops flashing so that it's basically locked itself completely back into place. There we go, and then press again. It should tuck itself back away. Fingers crossed, just like magic. You can hear it whirring away. There we go. Done, just like that. Like I said, you do lose a bit of luggage space by having this fridge, but you do, again, more pinstripes actually, even in the flooring of the boot. The luggage space back here, your usual things, high-vis jackets, warning triangle, towing eye, underneath the rear compartment shelf. Just close that back down. It is very smart, isn't it? All of these details, they just tie in really, really nicely. And I mean, it's a land of luxury. It is a lovely, lovely, lovely thing. And it made complete sense in my mind to do this based on the GLS. Lots and lots of headroom, lots and lots of space. In fact, of course, the ignition is actually still running up here. So just to show you quickly, up on the roof, of course, you've got the nice interior lighting as well, your instant connection to Mercedes Me, your usual interior lights that you would expect to see. But everything's just finished in a very, very, very nice way. That all comes together, all fits seamlessly, all makes complete sense. Borderless rear view mirror. Not quite sure if you can see that with the bright light of the outside that we have out here at the moment in the UAE, here in Dubai. But a lot of technology, a lot of gadgetry, a lot of things to experiment with, buttons to press, to play with, and just some nice graphics as well, playing on the display. Well, I think the definition of luxury in its purest form is pretty accurate when it comes to the new Mercedes-Maybach GLS 600 4MATIC. Four-wheel drive permanently, of course, but a lot of power, a lot of comfort. It oozes elegance, and I imagine it is quite a nice place to be sitting in the back for a long-distance drive or to be taken around. Another benefit, of course, of an SUV is that you're sat that touch taller. In fact, in here, the driver sits about 25 centimeters taller than in the S-Class. The occupants in the rear sit 28 centimeters taller, which just fits more with having a better view of the road up ahead, and I think in many ways just a little bit more comfort as well. So a huge thanks to Mercedes-Maybach, Mercedes-Benz, for the opportunity to come and take a first look at this car today and be able to share with you the new introduction for the Maybach line based on the GLS, to be able to experience it, and maybe one day in the future there will also be an opportunity to jump on board as well for a ride to enjoy some of that luxury. For now though, thank you very much for watching. As always guys, I appreciate your support an awful lot, but that's it for this time. I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.